You think time is a steady thing, a background hum, always there, always moving forward. You imagine a universal clock, ticking the same for you, for me, for everyone. You imagine Einstein simply noticed it runs a bit slower sometimes. That picture is comfortable. And it is wrong. You think time is what your watch measures. You think motion happens inside time. You think space is a stage, and time is the metronome. That intuition feels obvious. So obvious you never question it. But relativity doesn't say time slows down inside the universe. It quietly suggests there is no single time for the universe at all, not hidden, not distorted, absent. The thing you call now, you assume it's shared. It isn't. This is not a small correction. It is a structural failure of how you imagine reality. You believe a clock reveals time, that if two clocks agree, they are both tapping into the same underlying flow. That disagreement means one is broken. This belief feels so natural it rarely gets examined. Clocks are everywhere. Phones, walls, satellites. Their agreement gives you confidence that time is a thing being measured. This is wrong. A clock does not measure time itself. It measures a process, a vibration, a decay, a swing. We then call that process time. For centuries, this distinction didn't matter. When motion was slow and distances small, clocks could disagree slightly and still be forgiven. The world appeared stitched together by a single rhythm. Einstein's discomfort began here, not with light beams or trains, but with the casual assumption that distant clocks ought to agree. Imagine two identical clocks placed far apart. You want them synchronized, so you send a signal from one to the other. Simple enough. But the signal takes time to arrive, so you correct for that delay. Correct using what? The speed of the signal. And to know that speed, you must already agree on time. The logic loops back on itself. Synchronization quietly assumes what it claims to establish. This is not philosophy. This is operational failure. There is no experiment that synchronizes distant clocks without assumptions about motion and signal speed. None. Every method smuggles in a frame of reference and calls it neutral. Locally, clocks behave beautifully. Next to you, your watch is honest. Its ticks align with your heartbeat, your aging, your chemistry. But move it away. Put it on a fast plane. Send it into orbit. The agreement fractures. Not because the clock malfunctioned, but because agreement itself was never guaranteed. You don't notice this because everyday life lives inside a narrow regime where the lie is stable. The clocks disagree so slightly that you forgive them, you average them. You declare one right. Relativity refuses that comfort. It doesn't say clocks run badly. It says your expectation of a shared time was never justified. The universe does not provide a master clock. There is no background tempo waiting to be sampled. Each clock carries its own story. And only locally do those stories coincide. This is not yet about time slowing down. It is about the collapse of trust. You thought clocks revealed reality. What they really reveal is how badly you wanted time to be universal dot. You imagine motion as something that occurs inside time. A car drives. A planet orbits. A photon races across space. And time simply ticks along, independent, watching it all happen. This is wrong. Relativity suggests that motion and time are inseparable. Time is not a stage. Motion is not a play performed upon it. Instead, motion reshapes the stage itself. Consider a simple thought experiment. Two observers. One sits quietly in a train station. One rides a train at near light speed. You expect the moving observer to experience the same time as the stationary one, perhaps slightly slower, but even this language misleads. It implies a background time exists in which both motions are measured. Einstein stripped that stage away. Each observer constructs time from their own perspective. What counts as simultaneous at the station does not count as simultaneous on the train. Events that feel synchronized to one are skewed to the other. Motion is no longer a river flowing through a fixed temporal landscape. It is a lens that bends the very framework of time itself. Think of light beams. They travel at the same speed for every observer, no matter how fast you chase them. This constancy demands that time itself warps to accommodate the unyielding speed. It is not a clock running slowly. It is the universe bending the measure of durations, angles, and distances around motion. Even a single object experiences this. You might imagine your own movement as trivial, but speed is relative. Each change in motion slightly remolds the temporal metric around you. Your now stretches and tilts compared to the world outside. And there is no absolute anchor, no universal frame of reference, no invisible tether holding all motions against a single temporal backdrop. You realize that saying the train moves through time is meaningless. Time does not flow past the train. The train moves with its own time. And the station, unaware of the train's interior, has its own. You are used to thinking of movement as optional, separate, measured. Relativity says it is co-creative. Every motion defines the shape of time it experiences. The intuition that motion is secondary, that time is primary, is shattered. Time does not sit there, ready-made. It emerges in relation to motion. There is no neutral stage. Every frame of motion writes its own temporal storied act. You believe everyone shares the same present. That when you say now, someone on the other side of the city or the planet experiences the same moment. It feels obvious. Common sense insists it. And yet, it is false. Einstein didn't discover time slowing down. He discovered that simultaneity itself is relative. Now is not universal. It depends entirely on where you are and how you move. Imagine two observers. One stands at the edge of a vast field. The other speeds past in a train. A lightning bolt strikes a tree at the far end of the field. The stationary observer sees it and instantly declares, "This just happened." The moving observer traveling toward the lightning sees it earlier or later depending on speed and direction. Both are correct, yet they cannot agree on a single now. Each constructs a slice of reality that fits its own motion. Even nearby events can have mismatched nows. Distance and speed shift perception subtly but inevitably. There is no hidden universal clock reconciling them. There is no cosmic referee declaring which instant is genuine. Our everyday experience masks this. Signals travel fast enough, distance is short enough, that discrepancies are tiny. We ignore them. We declare a shared present, and we build our lives around it. But physics does not allow for this convenience. Your now is local, bounded by your frame of reference. Someone else's now is just another temporal path. Two paths never coincide perfectly unless they are at rest relative to each other. Time slices are personal, not metaphorically, but physically. The universe does not unfold uniformly for all observers. Think of it as a deck of cards. Each observer holds a deck. They fan out the cards differently. The same card appears in different positions, depending on the observer's motion. Nothing in the universe enforces a single fan. No rule demands that all observers now align. This is profoundly disorienting. You thought there was a shared temporal stage. There isn't. There are only a network of overlapping, incommensurate nows, each valid in its own frame. The very idea of a universal present is an illusion. And with it goes the comforting notion that everyone experiences same reality at the same time. You've heard it 1,000 times. Time slows down at high speed. You imagine a clock on a speeding spaceship lagging behind a stationary one. Imagine the traveler aging slower. You imagine time itself stretching like taffy. This is wrong. Nothing locally experiences slowed time. The traveler on the spaceship feels every second pass normally. The pendulum swings, the heartbeat ticks, the thoughts unfold all at the usual rate. To them, time has not changed. So why do we say it slows down? It's a statement about comparison, not experience. It's about the relationship between different observers. The ship's clock and the station's clock cannot agree because simultaneity is relative. But the traveler's seconds feel ordinary. The station's seconds feel ordinary. It is the comparison that warps, not the flow itself. Think of two painters each working on separate canvases. One paints quickly, the other slowly. You step back and look at both. You notice one canvas fills faster than the other, but to each painter, nothing has changed about their own tempo. Time dilation is just that, a comparative illusion. A mathematical statement about differences in measurements between frames. It is not a physical stretching of the seconds you live through. Now consider light speed travel. If you could approach the speed of light, clocks in other frames would appear to race or lag dramatically. Yet your own heartbeat remains unaffected. You do not experience slowed time. No consciousness feels the stretching. This subtlety is missed because language is careless. We say time slows down, as if seconds themselves stretch. They do not. Reality does not accommodate your naive metaphor. The mistake is comforting. It gives the illusion that the universe conspires against fast travelers, rather than revealing that our intuitions about time are flawed. Relativity does not allow an absolute scale for time. It allows each observer their own perfectly normal, internally consistent flow. And the divergence appears only when comparing notes. Time does not slow. It does not bend for you. It does not falter. It simply exists differently for each observer, inseparable from motion, inseparable from perspective. Do you imagine space as a vast emptiness and time as a separate, invisible thread weaving through it? A stage for matter and motion, a clock ticking independently of distance or direction. This is wrong. Einstein didn't just rethink time. He redefined the very fabric it inhabits. Space and time are not two things stacked together. They are one unified structure, space-time. Distances and durations do not exist independently. They are aspects of the same entity, inseparable and mutually defining. Think of it geometrically. You imagine walking a straight line across a field. You measure the distance with a ruler. You measure the time it takes with a clock. Your intuition treats these as separate quantities. Relativity says they are coordinates of a single vector. The motion of an object shifts its projection across this combined dimension. Distance and duration are intertwined. The faster you move through space, the less you move through time, and vice versa. It's not that time slows or space contracts in isolation. It is that the metric of reality, the ruler, and the clock together reshapes itself, depending on your trajectory. Visualize space-time as a rubber sheet. Each path you take stretches and tilts it in a different direction. Light travels along these sheets in a way that enforces consistency across observers, but there is no absolute horizontal or vertical slice. What counts as space and what counts as time depends on your motion. Even our language fights us here. We speak of distance and duration as though they are fundamental. They are secondary. The primary reality is space-time itself, the arena in which measurements emerge relationally. Consider two travelers passing near each other at high speed. To one, a journey appears longer, to the other shorter, not because either measurement is wrong, because their slices through space-time differ. Both paths are valid. Neither holds authority over the other. The separation of space and time is a convenience, a historical habit born of slow speeds and small distances. But when motion approaches light speed, the illusion fractures. What we consider two independent dimensions is actually a single, pliable continuum. This is uncomfortable. You thought you understood here and now, but here is inseparable from now. You imagined the universe as a movie, playing frame by frame. Every moment a snapshot, followed by the next, marching forward in perfect order. Time flows, the universe evolves, and reality refreshes itself endlessly. This is wrong. Relativity suggests there is no universal frame in which the universe updates. No master clock ticking behind the scenes. No cosmic metronome governing the unfolding of events. The idea that reality refreshes moment by moment is comforting but false. Think of space-time as a block. Past, present, and future coexist as a four-dimensional structure. Events do not pop into existence one after another. They are laid out. Your perception of flow is just that, perception. Motion and consciousness trace path through this structure, but the structure itself does not progress. Consider two observers again. One moves fast. One moves slow. They disagree on the order of distant events. One sees lightning strike first on the left. The other sees it strike first on the right. Reality does not resolve this conflict by waiting. It simply is. Even causality, that sacred pillar of intuition, becomes subtle. Events remain causally connected only within light. Cones regions defined by the speed of light. Outside these cones, the sequence of events is ambiguous. The universe does not update to accommodate your sense of before and after. This destroys the comforting notion of control. You cannot insist that reality unfolds the way your senses demand. Your now is local. Your sequence of events is a personal narrative carved through space-time. There is no authoritative timeline, no master update, no universal present. Even motion itself is a journey through this unchanging block. Your experience of time passing is an emergent, internal mapping. The universe is not dynamic in the sense we imagine. It is a vast, unyielding tapestry. You move along threads of your own making, perceiving flow where none objectively exists. The universe does not refresh. It does not wait for you to observe it. It does not honor your sequence. It simply exists. And yet, paradoxically, this absence of updates allows for all consistency, all physics, all causality. All interaction occurs precisely because each path is embedded in the block. The universe does not need to run. It only needs to exist. You thought understanding time would restore control. You imagined that by measuring, calculating, and observing, you could anchor reality. You imagined a universal now, a master clock, a reliable sequence. You were wrong. Relativity strips away these crutches one by one. Time does not slow. There is no shared present. Motion and time are inseparable. Space and time are fused. The universe does not update. What remains is disorienting. Each observer moves through a personal tapestry of events. Each path is valid. Each now is local. There is no overarching referee. Nothing compels your intuition to align with reality. And yet, this is not chaos. The block of space-time is consistent. Light cones, causality, and motion ensure that, despite your fractured perspective, the universe is coherent. But coherence does not equate to familiarity. It does not comfort. It unsettles. Imagine your life as a thread woven through this structure. Your past is laid out. Your future is already embedded. The motion you take, the choices you make, the events you witness, none exist independently of your trajectory through space-time. You are not moving through time in a universal river. You are tracing a path through a landscape already shaped, already present, already complete. What you experience as change is your own journey, your own sequence, cutting through the block. This raises questions without answers. What is now? What is flow? What does it mean to age, to exist, to witness? Your intuitions cannot guide you here. They will betray you. And this is the philosophical law Einstein left behind. Reality is stranger than your mind can easily grasp. It is not wrong or broken. It is indifferent. It is internally consistent yet fundamentally alien to your deepest instincts. You are compelled to abandon the comfortable illusion of universal time, to accept that your now is a local artifact, to realize that every observer, every motion, every clock is tracing its own path. And in that realization lies a peculiar wonder, a quiet, unsettling, humbling awe. Time is not what you thought. Reality is not what you thought. And yet here you are part of the tapestry, tracing your path, experiencing the extraordinary as if it were ordinary. This is not comfort. It is not clarity. It is the subtle, profound liberation of seeing the universe as it is and realizing how little of it is what you imagined. Every motion reshapes the combination. Space and time are forever entangled, each telling the story of the other.